Welcome back. My next guest is a touring member of the internationally loved band, the Lumineers, and an acclaimed solo performer with a brand new album out now. Welcome, Stelth Ulvang. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. I want you to tell us a little bit about your musical career and how you ended up with the Lumineers.
Yeah, I've been playing music since I was a kid with my grandparents' choir and stuff like this, and then moved into band. As soon as I left high school, I got really into traveling and setting up shows for folks and meeting people as I traveled, and that's how I met the lead singer and the drummer of the Lumineers, who had come to Denver, where I was living at the time.
Wow.
And I helped set up shows with them, with the little band that I was playing in then, and that was around 2009, 2010. And so we've been playing since then together, incorporating our music in separate bands and then eventually merging. So
That's right. You are so much more than just that. You're also your own solo musician, so tell us about your own solo career.
yeah, I seem to, every time the Lumineers takes some time off from touring, I'm also trying to put out a new record or
So you're not
do
stuck.
some recording. Yeah, that's right. I just had a kid though, so I'm trying to shape the
Congrats.
world. Thank you so much. Yeah, shape the world accordingly. But I am touring on this record now, Stelth Ulvang and the Tiger Nips. And it's a band that I whipped up in New Orleans while I was on the road with the Lumineers. We had a few days off, and we have to make short, quick decisions like that to make a record in 3 days' time or something. So it's kind of the nature of it.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us about some of your musical influences? How do you describe your sound?
Oh, yeah, sure. I usually play piano, but it seemed a little more difficult to roll into the studio today, so I brought a guitar in. But big storyteller, Elton John, Bob Dylan, Leonard Cohen, some of those kind of 60s and 70s storytellers, and that's kind of where this album is influenced as well.
Yes, tell us more about this album, Stelth Ulvang and the Tiger Nips.
Yeah, we recorded the whole thing through tape, like old vintage gear.
Oh, cool.
I really wanted to lean into live recording and maybe step away from the very safe and fleshed out technologies that, like with the Lumineers and bigger bands
That you have.
I just wanted to see what I could do with a very stripped down raw studio sound. So these are all, these are all instrumentalists and musicians that play together in New Orleans. And we started a band and whipped up a lot of these songs in only about, I think, 6 days of recording.
6 days?
Yeah.
You put a whole album together?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And usually 1 or 2 takes to record a song. So it was different than what we're used to, I think, with more digital recording techniques.
Yeah.
And so it was fun to work on that.
But I imagine that just makes it so much more raw and authentic.
Yeah, I think so.
That comes across.
If people, it's less forgiving as a digital recording, but it is raw and authentic. Yeah, vulnerable.
Tell us about the story behind this album.
This is a autumnal album, and it's been, as you know, sweltering up here for a while, but it's finally cooled off, and so I finally feel like the album's going to release nicely in the weather with the weather. But it's very much about like shifting change and sleeping for a season. And the song that I'll play, What Three Dogs, that is about kind of traveling and finding a spot to settle for the winter. And I did a lot of traveling before I leaned into traveling as a musician. I hitchhiked around the country and around the world. I hopped freight trains. And I traveled, this song specifically, I traveled to New Orleans, and it's about my experience like on one of my first big journeys with a friend.
Wow.
And so it's nice that I kind of returned to New Orleans to make a record a lot about that time and leaving Colorado, where I'm from, and heading down south. So.
Alrighty, Stelth Ulvang performing What Three Dogs. Take it away.
Thanks so much. I pause before I settle down, instead I lie awake, see towns that fall apart, and I'll say it's all okay. Drew a circle on the floor, and there I'll end my day, but I'm stuck inside a rut, seeing patterns all the same. I wonder how swiftly I could stop and get away. I keep an atlas in my backpack with circled city names. Who I gotta follow just to make it through the day? Which animal's the angel to help me ease the pain? What three dogs come to guide my way? Death comes along, it's okay to sit and wait. But the bushel of a tree are the birds taking wing, and I sing. Instead of pray. I once considered Dallas and I made it just halfway. I got stuck in Amarillo, jumped on the wrong train, and the cops, they picked us up and we didn't know the state. It turns out that Kansas City sits all over the place, and we ended up in New Orleans, stole leftover beignets, and we had to keep on moving just to keep our feet awake. And we tried to cross the ocean and we could have died that way. I still am ever thankful I can find a place to stay. What three dogs come to guide my way? Death comes along, it's okay to sit and wait. But the bushel of a tree are the birds taking wing, and I sing. Instead of pray.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that performance and stopping by Daytime Buffalo. Viewers, you can find Stelth's music on your streaming services and keep up with all of his new album releases and connect with him on social media at Stelth Ulvang. Thanks again for coming in and for that wonderful performance. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Well, viewers, we'd like to thank every one of our guests today. Daytime Buffalo's returning tomorrow at 3 right here on Channel 4 and also at 10 a.m. on the CW23.